Hi everybody, and welcome to
Malaga.
Exactly. Today we're going to continue the site analysis. This is going to be part 2,
Yes.
and we're going to look at water,
Yes.
aspects, and key points. But first, we want to give you an update on what's been happening. What has happened?
We have made this. You can see what we were sitting on.
Yeah, we're going to show you all we've been building here on the terrace.
And then we actually, that's kind of how we did here.
That's what we did here, yeah.
And at home we plant things.
We plant things at home.
Yes.
And what else happened? What about that guy?
We have a pet, a dog.
A dog, yeah.
My got it.
Yeah.
He's only 4 months old.
Exactly. We got a dog. His name is Gustav.
Yeah.
And he's 4 months old. But he's quite big.
Yeah.
We're going to show him to you. Just a moment. You know.
This is our pet. Dog. This is the dog we were talking about.
Exactly.
So you see he's big and he's still a pup.
Yeah. And now we can show you what we've been doing on the terrace.
Yeah.
So, this is where we started. We finished. What have we made?
We made so the water comes out really fast and then it goes down here and just stop here.
Exactly. We made this big ring around the tree and lined it with rocks like a one rock dam. And then the water goes down here.
Goes down right here.
Exactly. And where does the water go from there?
It goes down here. And then on both sides, and over on one side,
Yeah.
then it goes down there.
Exactly.
It goes all the way down there.
Exactly. And all the way over here. Now, I just need to explain this because
I'm gonna show you all this.
yeah, I just need to explain this part because this is a trench we've dug and lined with rocks, and even though it doesn't look like it's level and it doesn't look completely level on top, it is actually level at the bottom, which means that when the water starts gathering here at the bottom of this circle, it will also run down here.
Yes.
Along this, all the way, and out here.
We're gonna show you all this in other.
Yeah, we're just gonna go down here and show you what we've built down here. Oh.
This is where we kind of started.
Yeah, where does the water come from?
Come from up there.
Exactly.
And it goes down here. And then down there.
Exactly.
And then
We built this big sunny ball.
this. I'll show you what I mean. This, where I'm sitting.
Exactly.
It'll all go into all this.
Exactly.
And some of it will go out, but some of it will stay here.
Yeah, and when it goes out, where does it come out?
It comes out here.
Yeah.
Then it's going all the way down here, and then we can plant some things right there.
Exactly.
All the way here.
Exactly.
That's kind of what we want.
That's what we want. So this is a sunny ball, and actually it's gonna fill and then slowly let the water out in all directions, and the apron around it is going to spread the water around the terrace. Now, we did also start building here a small house around the well, just so we didn't fill it up with dirt, and also so we, if we need to, can put a pump or something on here in here later.
What I
Yeah, that was actually a floor.
Not just a ground floor
Nope.
of the house.
Exactly.
Floor of the house. And then the roof is coming. All these stones. And the entrance. I'll just go out of the house. So if you want to go out of the house, you'll have to do this. This is the way out. No?
Exactly. So, that's what we've been doing until now. Now, let's get back to the site analysis.
So here we have our drawing from the last time in GIMP, and for those who didn't see the previous episode, you can go back and see how I created this. I'll just remove some of the things we put in the last time, the sun angles and the high and low points, just to make it clearer. And this is actually why I'm using GIMP, and you'll see it later at the end of this episode. Why GIMP is a good tool, at least for me, to use, because you can turn the different views on and off by creating different layers here over on the right. So the first thing we're going to look at today is water. And if we look at the map, you can see there are 3 arroyos going through our property. There's one over here, which comes all the way down here. Then there's one here, flowing out here. And then we have a third one over here, flowing out here. So I'm just going to mark them in. Remember, in the site analysis, all we're doing is recording what is there. But I'm also going to mark another arroyo which isn't on the map. And this is why you sometimes have to go and see things in real life and see if your map actually is accurate. You need both the map and to be on site. And the one I want to mark in is one here, going here. And let's go on site and see why I marked this one out.
This is what I mean by a waterway that isn't marked on the map. This is just a gorge marked on the map, but if you look at it, I'm standing in the middle here. It is effectively a waterway coming down. And the only reason we have a big pile up of dirt here is because of that tree standing in the middle. So you need to be on site to judge whether something is actually a waterway or not. Now, I did promise Lucas to mention that he didn't want to come all the way up here to show you because he didn't want to do the walk. He was too tired.
So once you got your waters marked in, the next thing you want to look at is your watershed. Your watershed is basically the runoff of the land into your waterways. This will show you where does water run off on any particular part of the land, and also what areas, which land feed your waterways. This might be interesting to know for you if you have something upstream that might be a pollutant or similar. But it's also nice to know which way is the water moving on your land. Now, watershed is actually fairly easy to do on a topographical map. Water always runs perpendicular to contour. That is, if I have a contour line here, and you can take any contour line on the map, water will run this way. And then on the next contour line you can see water will run perpendicular, so it runs slightly in this direction. And here it will run perpendicular and slightly in this direction. So water from here will move down like this. It's maybe easier to see another location on the map. Let's see if I can find one. let's do that again over on this side here. If you look here, now let's go here. Water will run perpendicular, 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 perpendicular until it hits this waterway over here. So here the water will run straight down, whereas, for instance, here, close to the arroyo, water will run in this direction. So anywhere on the map, when you have a contour line, water will move perpendicular to that contour line. So you can actually start anywhere you want. If you say you want to know what the watershed is in this area or what feeds this river, you can either move up or down the contour lines to figure that out. And that will look something like this. Now this shows you what the watershed on the land is generally. So you can see that in any area, where's the water going? What waterways are they feeding? And over here I just showed you outside of the map, outside of our land, how is this arroyo fed from here? You can see there's a gorge coming down here, and there is probably going to be a lot of water coming down that way also. And you can see you get this nice tree-shaped structure because the water will collect into ever increasingly bigger watersheds, and of course further down the mountain all these arroyos will join up, like we have the two arroyos joining up right here. Further down they're going to join up again into bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger rivers. So actually once you have a big river, you can go work your way back and see how much water is actually feeding into that river, how big an area is feeding that, and you will come out with quite a big area. I saw a map for the Mississippi River in the United States, and that was basically half the United States was the watershed of the Mississippi River. So that's quite big. Now let's look at the next thing, which is aspect. For those of you who don't know what aspect is, I'll just give a brief explanation. Aspect is the orientation of the slope of the landscape according to the compass. That is a slope, and on the map that would be a contour line facing south, north, east, west, or any other direction that you want. That is aspect. It is simply the orientation of the slope to the compass. So what aspect you want to mark in is really up to you, what you think is important. And that's really dependent on what you want to do with your site, where you are in the world, if you're on the southern or northern hemisphere. Do you want to mark places that are warmer and have more sunlight? Do you want to mark places that are cooler? And so on and so forth. So what I've marked in are the southwest facing aspects and the northeast facing aspects. And the reason I've done this is that southwest is going to be the place that gets the most sun, the most heat, and it's going to be most exposed to these elements, to sun and heat. The northeast facing aspects are going to be the coolest places on the property. So what can be planted in these two different areas is going to be very different. And being where we are here in southern Spain, finding nice shady cool places is actually quite relevant for growing things. So let me just show you the aspects and I'll go through them afterwards. Here you go. Now I'll just remove the watershed and the water to make it clearer. And now you can see why it's very good to use GIMP or a similar program to mark in these different things because you can turn them on and off instead of just getting a whole bunch of colors all at once. Now, the yellow lines are the southwest facing aspects, and the purple ones are the northeast facing aspect. And how do you find aspect? Well, I hope you know your compass, just the basics. So south is down, north is up, east is right, and west is left. And that was the other way around. I don't even know my compass anymore. You get the idea. Southwest is in the bottom. That was right, wasn't it? Now I've confused myself. Anyway, southwest is in the bottom left corner. So what you want to do is you want to find any contour lines that are on right angle to an. Imagine a line starting down here in the corner and going up like this. And imagine you can move this line parallel anywhere you want, and this line extends all the way through. You can move it down here, have the same angle, and here have the same angle, or up here have the same angle. Now any contour line that will be at right angle to that line, or more or less right angle, will be the southwest facing aspect. I've marked southwest actually here, because as you can see, these parts are more southwest, which is around here, a line going up like this, and they would be an angle on that, a perpendicular angle. And then you get various spots on your property. Maybe your property only faces one direction and that's all you have, then that's all you have. But most properties have a little bit of different slopes. Now the purple ones is the same thing. Northeast facing aspect, that's a line going like this. And remember, you can move this line parallel. I'll just draw a line just so you can get it, what I'm talking about. Imagine a line going like, wait a second. Imagine a line going, yeah, this is not a straight line, but you get the idea. Imagine a line going like this. This is northeast, and you can move this. You could, if you have this printed on paper, you can take a ruler and just move it around in the right angle, and you can see which lines have the correct angle perpendicular to this line you've created. And that's how you find them. And that generally gives you an indication of how much sun, how much heat you're going to get in the different areas. And a funny thing I noticed, and this might just be coincidence, but the areas that I've marked in with yellow seem to me to be the areas that actually have the least vegetation if you look on the property. I'll just turn them on and off so you can see the difference. Try to look. Don't know if you see that, but the southwest facing aspect is the one with the least vegetation. Now I know there are other patches with a little vegetation on it as well, and there's the goats who graze the area and so on and so forth. I just found this maybe just a peculiar incidence. I don't know. But that's aspect for you. And what aspect you want to mark, again, that's up to you. What's important for you? If you're far north, you probably want to mark the southwest facing aspect and nothing else, because that's the only place you may be able to grow anything. If you're here closer to the equator, or in a very hot climate like this, you might want to mark out the northeast facing aspects, because those are the ones that are going to be the most coolest areas that are going to receive the least sun on your property. So the last thing we're going to look at is key points. Key points are, I'll just turn this off. Key points are places in the landscape where the slope increases rapidly. That's the key line, and the key point is when you have a valley there. I'll try to explain this. It would be easier if I did this in a different way. Anyway, let's get to the key line first, and then we'll do the key point afterwards. If you look at the contour lines, you can see they have a varying space. But you can see down here, these contour lines, here, 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 they're separated quite widely. And then suddenly here, they start to get closer. Now, I'll see if I can find a better example of that. Actually, this ridge over here is a really good example. You have the wide contour lines going here, and then suddenly from this point on, you see they're getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And what that means is that the landscape is suddenly getting steeper. Now, all hills have a concave and a convex shape. This is repeated all over over the landscape. You can go out and look, and you can see the key lines in the landscape when you're driving around. Look at hills. There is a point where the landscape is concave, and then it turns to convex, and that means it's sort of flat going up, and then suddenly it's very steep going up. This can repeat several times up the hillside, but you always get this pattern. And the point at which the hill goes from being very shallow to being very steep, that's the key line. And the key point is then if you can find a gorge or a valley, like here you have this arroyo coming up here, and you see we have the widespread points here. I'll just mark them out, and I'll just show you where the key points are. I'll mark them out in red. You see here you have, if you follow these, you have wide, 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 and then suddenly they become steep, steep, steep. So this is the key point. The key point is where they change, and when you have a valley like this, that's the key point. Again, you see it up in this one. You have large space, large space, large space, large space, and steep, 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 steep. And you can see them all over the place. Again, here, large, 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 steep, 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 steep. And here we have one coming up here, and you have one here. Also, you can see it goes very steep here. Now, the reason you mark these areas out is because these areas are the most suitable areas to build key point dams. This doesn't mean that you have to build a dam in every one of these, but now you know where the best suited areas are to build a dam. Now, why is that? That is because with the smallest amount of dam wall going across here, you can hold the largest body of water because you have a very steep a steep back wall of the dam, which is essentially the hillside. If you wanted to build that on the steep part, you could only get a wall in here, like so, and you would only hold a very small body of water. If you did that on the shallow parts, it wouldn't be a very high dam, and you wouldn't hold a very large body of water either. So if you build them exactly where the landscape changes, exactly at the key point, you get a small wall, but since the landscape goes steep immediately, you also get a deep dam. So this is the way you can hold the largest amount of water possible. And that's why we want to mark them out. Now, those are the key points. That's basically it for today. I just wanted to show you all of it all at once, and why, again, I'm using some form of electronic device. Ooh, we'll go with the aspect. Ooh. Right. I just dotted my aspect. Anyway, you get the idea. Here, if you put everything in at once in one map, it really becomes unreadable. And having the ability to turn on and off and say, right, I want to know where are my low points compared to my key points, or my aspect, or just looking at the things that are interesting for you, it's much easier this way than to put all of this on one piece of paper and trying to show everything at once. It can become rather difficult. So anyway, I hope you learned a little bit today, or at least had some fun watching it. And I hope to see you again soon on another episode of Permaculture Malaga. Thank you for watching.